Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, the podcast covering all things soccer in the Queen City. So get in touch, soccer fans. Email us at feedback@cincinnati-soccertalk.com. Now, here's your host, Nick Suberling.
Hey, what's happening, CSTers? Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. Glad you're with us here on this fine Monday evening. Hey, another week, another win to talk about. FC Cincinnati comes from behind yet again to knock off Toronto FC 2 in thrilling fashion late at Nippert Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Corbin Bone with a couple of goals on his birthday to win for FCC. We'll talk about that match. We'll talk about, oh my goodness, Tsubasa Endo's performance for Toronto FC 2. Was that the greatest opposing performance we've seen at Nippert Stadium in the short history of the club? 3 goals from him, all 3 spectacular goals. We'll talk about that. And then we'll wrap up tonight. A little Wikipedia game. We've been promising this for months, and we're finally coming through here at CST. We've invited a couple of our Growler Cup monthly winners to join us a little bit later on, Carl Fight and Tom Grabo, who won a couple of the different Growler Cup months. They will battle it out tonight in the Wikipedia game. Make sure you play along with us as well at home tonight here on CST. If you're watching us at home, or work, wherever you may be, make sure you get in touch with us, feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at Cincy Soccer Talk. We're monitoring all the comments on Facebook and YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch tonight. So, again, make sure you get in touch. Let's welcome in my cast of characters this week. We'll start first with the voice of the Women's Bearcat soccer program, Mr. PTO, Razzle Dazzle Brazzle himself, Boston Brazzle. Boston, how are you, my friend?
Not too bad, Mr. Watch Your Tackles. Doing pretty good. Had a good week. 2 wins. Went down to Louisville. Well, I guess I went down to Louisville twice. Got to see that win, and then back home. Rushed back from Indianapolis, where I saw T Swift. And so, I mean, that's awesome. That's 2 good back-to-back days. Taylor Swift and FC Cincinnati win. I never thought those would go together, but they went together real smooth.
So this is news to me. I did not know you were seeing Taylor Swift over the weekend, Boston. How did this escape, first of all, me knowing this? Is it because you didn't want us to torment you on a daily basis?
Yeah, you try to keep my fandom on the lowdown. 6 months ago I saw Katy Perry, so I felt like it was only fair I see her arch rival Taylor Swift.
Oh, wow. I didn't know we were going to go there. Well, glad to have you back, Boston. That laugh you heard there was the voice.
Sorry about that.
That is okay. We are very excited to have on the program with us tonight. She has been working really hard here at CST for the last few months. She's making her debut as an analyst here on the show. We welcome in Trisha Hauser. Trisha, welcome to CST. Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. First of all, congratulations on making your debut here. How excited are you?
I'm pretty excited. I want to thank Deborah and Steve for getting me all of this lovely equipment for my birthday so I can be here with you fine people this evening.
Well, we're glad to have you here with us. We're excited to get your take on what went down yesterday at Nippert Stadium. Last time I got a chance to hang out with you in person was the MLS event back in May, so I'm looking forward to not necessarily having a face-to-face conversation, a digital face-to-face conversation with you about the orange and blue. So welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And last but not least, he's like kind of our, I don't know what you want to call him. Should we call him the bookworm? He's kind of like the genius, the smarts behind the writing side. He's the editor-in-chief. He's the guy who, if we have grammar questions, we go to him. It's the one and only Rob Pierce. Rob, how are you, buddy?
Well, I'm blushing a little bit now. I'm doing well for the most part. If you were a neutral party to Sunday's match, you were probably really entertained. You had 7 goals, 2 back-to-back in first-half stoppage time, an opponent hat trick with 3 pretty outstanding goals, a birthday brace, an assist record, all in the same match. You don't see that very often. So for a neutral party, you're probably really enjoying it. But for those of us that might be wearing orange and blue glasses, the mood varies. I know I was a little relieved, but I know that Alan Koch after the match was not a happy camper. And we'll discuss all that here in a little bit. And hey, this is already a historic episode with our new face.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to have you back, Rob. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you were sitting high, perched high at the stadium on Sunday afternoon, checking in. I believe, correct? You were there in the press box.
Yes, that's correct.
So you had a nice little vantage point. I mean, you're right. That match had it all, from the late goals, the spectacular goals, to your designated player falling over advertising boards and nearly injuring himself celebrating a goal. I mean, again, that match had it all. FC Cincinnati wins 4-3 over Toronto on Sunday afternoon. If you count the two matches as a whole, on aggregate, FC Cincinnati wins, let me see, carry the one, 7-6 this year. That's 13 combined goals between these two sides. That is crazy. Wow. Absolutely crazy. They get the win. They made it difficult on themselves. As I mentioned, Tsubasa Endo with a amazing hat trick. One of the best performances we've seen from an opposing player in FC Cincinnati history. So let's start with our best and worst. So we'll kick things off with ladies first. Trisha, your best and worst from Sunday afternoon?
Let's see. My best was the fact that we won. That was a plus. I think our 7th straight win, 18 unbeaten. Our worst would probably be our performance in that first half. Wasn't great. I kind of want to use the word abysmal, but I don't want to be too harsh. I was just standing there perplexed. Like, I could not understand what was going on for the first little bit. I was like, who are these people? And then looks like we found our momentum and finally played a little bit better.
So that was your worst. How about your best?
Probably just that we won.
Yeah.
That was just nice. I didn't want to lose to Toronto. I didn't want our streak to end against the worst team in our conference.
Pretty
that
embarrassing.
Would have been a little embarrassing.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That would have been rough. Although, look, Toronto's been playing well. I mean, they
played a great game for sure. That was very tough. So not to take anything away from them, they're clearly talented, but still, when it's first place against last place, you don't really want to lose to that.
I don't know if they played a great game. They had one guy who played phenomenal. Defensively, they were...
one of them played a great game.
Yes. But the good news is there was one guy for FC Cincinnati playing great late, and Corbin Bone getting those 2 goals. So how about you, Rob? Your best and worst?
For my best, I will take Emmanuel Ledesma's assist record. We all know him for the many golazos he's had this year, a few of which could be considered for goal of the year when we do our end of the year awards. But the assist record is one that's teammates based. I mean, to get an assist, you have to pass to a teammate who then scores. And so that's my best. Find me a better player than Ledesma in the USL. You can't do it. He's the MVP of this team and the USL. So that would be my best. My worst is something you mentioned earlier, and I'm afraid I'm going to be stealing yours, and that is the placement of the signboards around the field of play at Nippert. I know that most, if not all, MLS sides have them. But if you watched the game or saw highlights, you saw Audi take a tumble over the boards after his goal. He knew they were there and cleared the hurdle well enough, but it kind of looks like he may have missed the landing. And Audi's just the most recent. It's not just him. We've had a few players crash into him or jump over them. And Audi took some hits in general Sunday, and thankfully he didn't get hurt. I haven't. Yes.
You work for the IRS, right? So math may be kind of your thing. You got a sign that brings in 10 let's just say $20,000 of revenue a year. Let's just be real optimistic. And a $2 million man goes flying over it. I mean, what kind of math is that?
I haven't broken out a ruler or taken any measurements or anything like that, but I wonder if they could move them back a little bit. I don't know. Just an observation. That would be my worst.
Yeah, that's hard to top there. I agree with you, Rob. I mean, the last thing you want is your star designated player. I mean, he could have, broken a collarbone or dislocated a shoulder landing like he did there. I mean, that was super dangerous. I mean, Forrest Lasso, we saw him clear it. But again, like that, I don't know. We've seen too many folks, not just FC Cincinnati players, but even opposing players crash into the boards. It seems a little dangerous. And I'm sure that they are as far away from the field as they possibly need to be. But I don't know. It just looks dangerous. And I'm sure when Alan Koch saw Adi fall over like he did, he was holding his collective breath for sure. So, yeah, I agree there. Boston, before I go to you, we've already gotten some comments on YouTube saying your man card has been revoked because of your Taylor Swift appearance there. No, so I'm just letting you know that.
They're assuming I had one to begin with.
Well played, Boston. How about your best and worst?
Oh, man, the best, I think, has to be Corbin Bone. We do not win that game without his brace, and he really came through. Props to Jimmy McLaughlin as well for providing that spark off the bench. I've been a little bit hard on some of the originals, and I'll be honest, we don't continue the streak if it's not for the original first-year players of FC Cincinnati. So that is by far the best for me. And worst, I think I'm gonna give it to shoot. I have to give it to our defense. They've been lights out most of the year, but you know, Toronto FC's got one player. He's come back from injury. He's played for the first team. He's a great player, and shoot, you let him shoot from range, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Just smoked us. And we deserve every bit of punishment we got because no one covered him.
Yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't man-marked by the time you get late in the match like that. You should know where he's at on the field at all times with the way he was shooting. He scored not with one. I mean, he scored with his left foot and his right foot from range. That's tough to do. And obviously Endo, coming from Major League Soccer, played with TFC for a few years there. He's an MLS caliber player, and there's no question about it, and it showed over the weekend. So, it's hard to argue that one. Defensively, that's not what you want to see. Alan Koch, plain as day, after the post-match there in the interview with Lindsey Patterson, not happy. He wasn't happy at halftime either. So clearly that led into the post-game press conference where he also was not happy. But in the end, look, they get the 3 points. But, you cannot let teams punish you like Endo did there for Toronto FC2 over the weekend. 3 fantastic strikes. But you're right. You've got to close that down and not allow that to happen. My best, man, that's a tough one. I'd have to say Manu Ledesma. I'm going with the assist man. I mean, that guy, he's going to smash the USL record. He had it tied going into the match on Sunday with 12. He now has 15 on the year with, 5 games left? I mean, he is going to obliterate the USL assist record. And so kudos to him for that. He probably should have scored a goal too. Or ripped a shot there in the first half that hit off the crossbar inches away from going in. So Manu Ledesma, easily your USL MVP, and he was my best on the weekend. And yeah, Rob, you stole my worst, the advertising boards. So how dare you? No, I'm kidding, of course. But we want to hear from you. What were your best and worst over the weekend? Get in touch with us, feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. As for the match itself, what really stood out to you, Rob? You were there in person. You were there. You saw the post-game press conference with Alan Koch. As a whole, what really stood out to you?
The thing that I remember the most were the 2 goals right before halftime.
Yeah.
Adi's goal was sensational. He takes that long ball from Ledesma and just kind of with a little flick of his ankle, he kind of just springs it over that guy and runs right around him. And I didn't even see this until the replay because his back was to me up in the press box. I saw him head the ball and kind of propel himself towards goal. And then, the smoke has barely cleared the Bailey, and then Endo scores his second. So that stands out with me. And then Koch's remarks afterward, clearly he was not happy, and rightfully so. I mean, you're not going to celebrate after every win. You have sometimes you have good losses, and sometimes you have bad wins, and you could argue that was a bad win.
It was a bad one. Mark Supfin on Facebook had this to say for his best: the Cincy Strong shirts. And I agree with that one too. Obviously, Cincy Shirts donating those shirts, raising funds for the the victims of the shooting there downtown a few weeks ago. So that's a good call, Mark. Glad you chimed in with that. How about you, Trisha? You watched the match. Obviously, FCC didn't play their greatest, but in the end, they get 3 points, and they move on. They continue to streak.
I think what really stood out to me was our lack of defense. There were so many times when Toronto was running the ball and Spencer was just like alone there, like just waiting. And I feel like for Patty and Lasso, that's a little uncommon. They're normally like a brick wall. Nothing really gets past them. And I feel like that wasn't there, which kind of left Spencer in the position where you can be one of the greatest keepers. But I mean, if you don't have that defense to help you, it's going to be really hard to keep, like you said, those amazing goals out. Like those were just brilliant strikes. And that's what stood out to me. I was like, where are they? What's happening?
Yeah, I think too, one thing that was pointed out over the weekend, it wasn't just Forrest and Patty that struggled, but I think whoever was playing the six, whether it was LaHood or Kenny Walker, there was that massive gap at the top of the box, which, FC Cincinnati earlier in the year, they were conceding goals from that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously Toronto took a big advantage of that over the weekend, Boston.
Yeah, they sure did, and it's. I think that's part of the Tyler Gibson sub-in was to help prevent that, and it did kind of shore it up a little bit there towards the end. Yeah, it was a weird match, for a 4-3, it was action packed, and I tell you what, I was in Nippert, I was watching the crowd, and I love to kind of gauge the crowd atmosphere, and it started off with a bang. You're right, the Cincy Strong, not just the players marching with the shirts, but they also did the moment of silence. They had the military there, sorry, the Cincinnati Police Department there, my mistake, and they kind of just the fans just poured love onto that field, and it was really awesome to see from the get-go. And then to follow that up with some of the real tight, I mean, the linesmen were calling some really, really tight offside calls, and our guys just could not catch a break. Audie especially was getting really frustrated with that. And I'm really glad he got his one goal and broke away, because it was tight all game between him and Ledesma. Neither one of them could seem to get forward without that flag going up.
Yeah, I had to watch the match after the fact. I was about 2 hours behind, so I was doing my best to avoid my phone, and I got done. I wrapped up about 8:30 that night on Sunday. But when I first tuned in and saw that Fernando Adi was getting the start at Nippert, I was really surprised by that, especially considering the turf and everything that was made about that a few weeks ago. But he gets his first start at Nippert, gets his goal. It was a fantastic goal. And again, guess who assisted? Manu Ledesma, with just an amazing cross across the field. Adi chests it down, flicks it over to the defender, and he's just one-on-one with the keeper. Just arguably one of the best goals. If it wasn't for Sabaso Endo's 3 goals, Adi clearly would be up there for goal of the week. To me, that's what really stood out, was the fact that he started, and then I think the fact that, and look, to be fair to Michael LaHood, the guy was in Africa at this time a week ago, and that travel is not easy, and to come back and play on short rest, probably doesn't have his legs back, and to see that Alashi was a scratch with a knock that he picked up late in the week, that kind of forced Alan Koch's hand. Obviously, Richie Ryan's still rehabilitating, so he's not fully fit yet. And obviously, we're not exactly sure the full fitness of Tyler Gibson either. So his hand was kind of, played for him. He had to play LaHood on Sunday. And look, LaHood has been a rock for us this season. There's no question about it. He just had an off day, I think. I think him controlling the midfield there in front of the 2 defenders, if he's in position a little bit better, maybe man-marking Endo a little bit more, maybe those 3 goals don't happen. But, again, it's got to get through 11 guys first. So, look, it wasn't the best performance for FC Cincinnati. But, look, they're 18 unbeaten now, if my math is correct. And they're now on 66 points, 3 points away from the USL record set by the Red Bulls a few years ago in their championship run, with 5 matches to play. So, look, this team continues to get better and better. And look, they had a bad game, but good teams, championship teams, they find a way to win. And that's really all that matters. So let's transition a little bit, shall we? We kind of talked about it earlier on in the show about, there hasn't been, from an opposing standpoint, there hasn't been that one thing or one performance that really stands out. I can count on maybe 3 fingers something that I remember vividly happening in the match from an opposing player and thinking to myself, wow, that was pretty special. Endo over the weekend, that's up there. The hat trick, and not just the hat trick, but scoring with both feet with shots from outside the box from distance. I mean, you talk about opposing performance for the ages. That was one of them. So I'm asking you 3, is that the best opposing performance you've seen against an FC Cincinnati team at Nippert Stadium? I'll start with you, Boston.
I think so. I mean, you asked shortly after the game, or shortly after you had watched the game, amongst us Cincinnati Soccer Talk members, what it was, and we're all racking our brain to think. And we know there's been 1 or 2 hat tricks scored on FC Cincinnati. I think the biggest one is Chandler Hoffman, who did it when Louisville came to town early. I think that was 2016.
Second ever home match at Nippert Stadium.
Yeah, but Hoffman had a PK. So I don't think it's as good. These were 3 outside the box, just rockets, and I don't know how he can beat that. I mean, I think I've seen a better performance in Nippert from the home side, but if the question is away, then I think that takes the cake. I mean, home I would give it to GB Fall versus St. Louis with 4, but
yeah, I go back to the Chandler Hoffman game, and Ken Hetker, one of our analysts at CST, mentioned, this was a first half hat trick in a win for Louisville City. So the team ended up winning because of his performance. And you're right. I chalk it up to, that was a penalty kick. Had, Austin Berry not handled the ball in the box, maybe we're looking at a 2-2 match against Louisville that day. In this match, Endo gave his team the lead late. It wasn't, his fault that his defenders stopped playing defense there in the last 10 minutes of the match. So I'm with you, Boston. I say that was the best performance from an opposing player I've seen at Nippert Stadium. Tricia, how about you? You want to chime in here?
I agree. I think that was probably the best performance that I've seen, for sure. It was perplexing because obviously I don't want to be like, yeah, man, he was great, but he had a stellar performance. So I'll give him props for that.
Yeah, and our own Brian Weigel he told me after the match that the Bailey actually applauded Endo as he came off the field. So,
oh, did they? I didn't do that.
Yeah, well,
but I mean, if other people did, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was a spectacular performance. So, Rob, how about you?
The Chandler Hoffman match predates me. I was just a bit late to the FCC party in 2016. It took me a few matches. So I would say yes, Endo. The only other person that I could conceivably give it to is Rochester's Wall Fall last year. But those were a couple of PKs. And
how dare you?
That's the second time that's happened to me tonight. But that was really more for getting under FCC fans' skin than anything else. So yes, I would definitely agree that it's Endo.
I mean, a long distance strike from well outside the box with his left foot to do it again with his right foot at their, quickly responding to FC Cincinnati, who had just taken the lead there late in the first half, and then you just knew as soon as he got the ball at his feet, inside, basically what we call the D at the top of the box there, unmarked, you just knew as soon as he had ripped that shot, it was going in. I even, I was watching it, and as soon as he got it, I said out loud, I said, oh no. Sure enough, he ripped the back of the net. That was a spectacular performance for Toronto FC too. I go back to the Chandler Hoffman game as well, and that was a crazy result too, because at that point, FC Cincinnati had taken the lead early. Austin Berry had headed the ball in. He played college ball there at Louisville, and he had headed the ball in. And FC Cincinnati, the fans at Nipper were rocking. And I vividly remember that match because I was sitting up in the press box. And Rob, you know this, being as high up as you are, it's hard to see just the numbers on the backs of the jerseys. So at that point, I'm sitting there looking at the TV, trying to see the number of who scored the goal. And then the next thing you know, he's scoring another goal. And then, gosh, that PK really sealed it. Now, I saw a lot of people commenting on the celebration of Endo, who, after his third goal, walked up. Shouldn't say walked up, ran in front of the FC Cincinnati bench and basically counted out 1, 2, 3 with his hand. I thought that was a great goal celebration. I'm not offended one bit by it. That guy earned the ability to go do that in front of the FCC bench.
Totally.
A lot of people are up in arms about that, Boston. What do you think?
No. You put a hat trick in front of 27,000 people that are all actively cheering against you. You have every right to call us out. And I loved, and I'll tell you why I'm a little bit less offended is when that fourth goal was scored. He was down by the Bailey, and the Bailey did it back to him and goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And he smiled like, oh crap, like you guys got me. Like I think it was even there a little bit.
Yeah, the celebration was awesome. I actually will admit that looking back on it, even though I was pretty upset about it after the fact, but Big Bird celebration in front of the Bailey, I'll admit that's pretty cool. He owned it. So yeah, I don't know. Was that are you offended by that celebration, Trisha?
I was at first, and then I remembered when we played Detroit City, when Emery got his hat trick, he kind of taunted their fans a little bit. So I was like, I mean, I can't be mad if he does it to us. If I'm cool if Emery does it, I don't want to be a hypocrite. So you scored him. Have your moment.
Yeah.
It didn't last long, but good for him.
Well said, Trisha. How about you, Rob? Do you echo our sentiments?
Yeah, that wasn't a big deal to me. But I forget whether it was YouTube's or Boston that mentioned Big Bird. That's another category there. Best opposing goal celebration. That's got to be Big Bird. That was fantastic.
So you're taking Big Bird over Endo?
If we're talking about best goal celebration, yes, Big Bird. But do I have a problem with the way Endo celebrated? No, not really.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Endo over Big Bird. Nah, I mean,
I'll take anyone over Big Bird. It's personal.
Well, now we know how Trisha really feels. So, look, we want to hear from you, though. So make sure you get in touch with us. Feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Was that the greatest opposing performance you've seen from an FC, a player against FC Cincinnati? Again, emails feedback at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. It's that time of the show where we want to just give a shout out and thanks to our tremendous supporters here at CST. We do something called the Growler Cup here on the show. Well, not on the show, but more on the website. We used to do it on the show, but on the website where we predict the outcomes for FC Cincinnati matches. And we've given out contest prizes at the end of each year. This year we did a little bit differently. And we wanted to award the monthly winners for the Growler Cup. So over the next few weeks, you're going to see a couple of those folks visiting the show and partaking in the Wikipedia game. But one way that you can get involved in the Growler Cup is to support the show over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. If you get entered today, you can actually you'll be entered for next year as well. So again, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support is where you can find out more about that. We want to thank our tremendous supporters, though. Let's give it up to Tim Bronsel with King's Hammer for their awesome support. Thank you so much, Tim. Matt Adamczyk, Mama Subes, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Mike Hudson, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, Mike Bowman, Kathleen Francis, Jesse King, Teresa Everidge, Matt Imholt. Liverpool is still superior to Man U at the moment. Big win for them over the weekend against those Spurs. I love rubbing it in when the Spurs lose, because Brad Weigel loses his mind, and he can't respond because he's off somewhere in some far away land on a boat. And last but not least, Mama Sagai, Segan Sagai, thank you so much for your support of CST. Again, if you want to help us out, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support is where you can do just that. So we're going to be joined here in a few moments by Carl Fight and Tom Grabo here in just a bit to talk about that. While we wait for those two to join us here on the King's Hammer hotline, let's talk a little bit about some results from around the weekend and what has to happen now for FC Cincinnati to clinch home field advantage throughout the Eastern Conference playoffs. With the result over the weekend with Louisville and Pittsburgh, that means FC Cincinnati just needs 2 more points to clinch home field advantage through the Eastern Conference. They need to get to that magic number of 68, or if Pittsburgh drops points before then. I think they play at the same time on Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong, Boston.
Yeah, they do. 7. They're both games are at 7.
Yeah. So if FC Cincinnati were to drop points against Penn FC, they're playing Penn FC this weekend. My brain is scattered right now. And then, so then Pittsburgh, if they drop points, they will surrender the Eastern Conference to FC Cincinnati. So that is a good development, and you want to clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs. But let's talk a little bit over the weekend. Pittsburgh and Louisville played to a fun one, Boston. Did you get a chance to see that match?
Yeah, I had to go back and watch it, but it was pretty good. Especially for a Pittsburgh game, because you would just expect them all to suck and be boring and Bob Lilly just really to put you to sleep. But that was a good one. Like Louisville gets out to a 2-0 lead, and I think for sure, they're taking away the 3 points, which I'm also okay with because Pittsburgh, is in second. And no, they just it was this weird game where Louisville decided it's an interesting strategy versus a Bob Lilly team. And if you follow the USL, you'll know what I mean here. But Louisville basically gave the ball to Pittsburgh, which is completely mind-blowing if you watch Louisville. They are a possession-based team, and then they attack when they don't have the ball to get the ball back.
Well, they were.
Yeah. Well, and they played that way against us. And I think that in this game, Louisville said, no, Pittsburgh, you guys have trouble scoring. Here you go. The ball's yours. You guys play however you want. You can control possession, and then boom, boom, 2 goals. Louisville's up, and it was working. And then it just all fell apart in the end. They went, 70, 80 minutes perfectly, and all of a sudden Louisville gets an own goal, which is rare for them, right? And then a PK. So Pittsburgh never actually scored, but it's a 2-2 draw. Fascinating.
I turned that game on. It was 1-0 Louisville, and I saw Louisville score the second goal, and I saw a lot of what Boston was talking about. And then later on, the game kept going on, and I actually switched over to Crew in Dallas. I was kind of watching that for a little bit. And then Subs, I think, was inquiring about the score, and I looked back, and I said, whoa, 2-2, how'd that happen? Ranjitsing own goal and the PK. You don't see that very often for Ranjitsing, a very, very strong keeper.
Yeah, he's been lights out for Louisville this year, surprisingly giving up that own goal. And he also had some really good saves there in that match. Pittsburgh could have won. They had some really good opportunities there on net. I don't know how Nico Brett didn't score there in that first half. Point blank header, and Ranjitsing made a great save for Louisville. It's interesting, though, because you're right, Boston. Louisville used to be that team that would attack. But, what we noticed over the weekend is, they've been playing a 3-back system under O'Connor. But now that Hackworth has arrived, they're switching now to more of a 4-back system, which, midway through the year, that can't be easy to have to adjust to.
No, but I almost want FC Cincinnati to implement the exact same system that Louisville did Saturday. It worked. Don't get me wrong. It worked up until, 83, 84 minutes. And then these 2 flukish type of things where they allow a penalty and an own goal. I mean, Louisville should have won that match by giving Pittsburgh the ball. I find that just entire thing amazing. Yeah. And I think Hackworth was on to something.
Well, we'll see. I'm not sure that playing 4 backs there at Slugger Field is ideal. With a narrow pitch like it is, obviously it was working under O'Connor with the 3-back system, but the 2-2 result favored FC Cincinnati. That's a big result for the Orange and Blue, who now are that much closer to clinching the Eastern Conference playoffs, the home field advantage throughout. So we'll continue to monitor that to find out more about the march to the playoffs. Go check out Bill Wolf's piece on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. He did a really good job writing it up last week. And so check it out over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. All right, let's welcome into the show a couple of our monthly winners here on the Growler Cup. They're going to be joining us here in just a few moments to play the Wikipedia game. So let's welcome in one of our winners for this year so far. Let's welcome in Carl Fight to the show. Carl, welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
We're doing well. First of all, congratulations on being such a good prognosticator. Tell us your strategy in the Growler Cup, man. We all want to know.
Yeah, I do.
Just taking a look at the standings, seeing what everybody's doing. I'm sure the same thing that everybody else does, honestly.
Well, congratulations on a big month. Are you excited to play the Wikipedia game? Are you familiar with it?
I'm vaguely familiar with it. I'm nervous to go against Tom.
Oh, I think it'll be fun. It'll be a good time.
He wears a cape, but he really doesn't know anything.
I didn't say that, Tom. That was all Boston. But no, we're glad to have you on the show, Carl. But by the way, thank you so much for supporting the show here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. First of all, where are you? Are you from Cincinnati? What part?
I'm out in Eastgate, Batavia area.
Oh, okay, very cool. I wasn't. I was there just this past spring for the soccer tournament. Good old Route 32. Went to Skyline multiple times that weekend.
King's Hammer, sure.
Yeah, that's right. But good to have you on the show, Carl. Again, thank you for your support. Let's welcome in we'll call him the Caped Crusader for this one. We welcome in the super fan, Tom Grable. Tom, welcome back to CST. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm tired, but I'm doing good.
No excuses. I don't want to hear. He's laying the foundation there, Carl. Did you hear that?
Come on.
I'm fully prepared for excuses.
Weak.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, thank you again for your support of the show. Congratulations on being one of our monthly winners here on the Growler Cup. You're up there competing for the end of the year title as well. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I'm hoping I can get some scores right now for the last few games. It's the only way I can pull back ahead.
Yeah, it's coming down the stretch. How are things going there with the sports games for kids?
Awesome. We actually just had a big event yesterday. I don't know if any of you saw us over there in the general admission section, but we had a nice group of kids from a record 5 different organizations all at one event, and it went really well. The kids loved it. Loved that we saw all those goals, so that was nice.
Yeah, you picked a really good one to go to, Tom. 7 goals. A thriller, too.
Yeah. And the weather cooperated a bit, too. You know, it wasn't one of the real scorches or anything, so, yeah, it worked out real well, and thank you guys for making that possible for us.
Not a problem. We're honored to be a part, and we love what you're doing there with sports games for kids. So, all right, without further ado, enough of the niceties. Let's get down to business, shall we? It's time to throw down here on the Wikipedia game. Normally, Brian Weigel does this for us. He's kind of our game show host. So I'm stepping into some pretty big shoes. So if I butcher this, Brian, I'm apologizing in advance, but we'll make this fun. We'll kind of go over the rules of the Wikipedia game. Basically, what it is it's a guessing game. You have to pick. We give you a player, and we kind of give you some clues, and then you have to basically bid on how many teams that person played for. And if you can name all of those teams, then you win the point. Now, we're going to play best 2 out of 3, but we'll do 1 for practice. Does that sound good, Carl and Tom?
Absolutely.
I don't think it's going to help me any, but yeah, that'd be fun.
All right, so here we go. This is the first one. This is kind of a dry run, a little practice run. And then if you guys can't get it, maybe I'll throw it over to Trisha and Rob in Boston to see if they can play here. All right. After moving through the youth ranks of Serie A, this player joined a famous English championship side on a season-long loan in June 2008. He made a bright start to his career in English football, highlighted by a hat trick at home to Carlisle in the second round of the League Cup. This coming days after his first and what turned out to be only league goal for this prestigious club in a 2-0 win over Doncaster Rovers. On February 2nd, 2009, he left the English side by mutual consent to join a Serie B side in a half-season loan move. He spent time with several Italian sides before short stints back in association football before a move back to his South American homeland. His career took a big turn as he returned back to England in 2012, playing with a current FC Cincinnati teammate. He would make stops in Greece before coming to America in 2017. This person has played for 14 clubs, including FC Cincinnati. 2 clubs he has appeared twice. He was an all-league in his most recent stop, and he's the USL single-season assist record holder. There was a dead giveaway. Now, you have to bid on how many teams you can name for this player. So, Carl, I'll start with you. How many teams can you name of this player?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I can name any.
Oh, okay. All right. How about you, Tom?
Nope. I don't think I could name any other teams. Yeah.
All right. Well, the giveaway was the last clue there, the USL single-season assist record holder.
Yeah, I know who it is, but it doesn't help me on the teams.
Okay.
So.
All right. So that means you can't name any other clubs that this person played for?
You see, in the relationship, Stevie knows all the facts and stats, and
All right, let me give you a
hint.
hint. Let me give you a hint. The club before FC Cincinnati, like this is like one of the only 2 I know. It's pretty easy. Do you guys remember where we got him from? NASL club?
Crickets.
Okay.
Crickets.
All right. So the correct answer here, I'll throw it to you, Rob. Do you know who it is?
I have a guess, and that is, I know this isn't right, but OKC Rayo.
No. Who's the player?
Oh, the player. The player's Ledesma.
Okay.
I thought we were going with teams.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guessed OKC Rayo. That is not correct.
No.
How about you, Trisha?
I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't know.
So you're passing as well. All right,
I'm gonna
Boston.
pass.
Name the other team.
I only know 2 things. I know he came from the Cosmos, because that's kind of like our connection, right? Because we have we've got our technical directors from the Cosmos as well.
Luke Sassano.
Yes, and I think one of the English sides he played for was Middlesbrough, but that's about it. He played for 13 clubs. I can give you 2.
He played for 14. Get it right, and you were right. Cosmos and Middlesbrough are 2. He's played for Genoa in Serie A, Queens Park Rangers, another team I can't pronounce, Novara. Yeah, Middlesbrough is a big one. Brighton and Hove Albion, who came back today in the Premier League. He played for them. Brentford, New York Cosmos, FC Cincinnati. So that's kind of our little I don't know how this is going to go, gents. That was kind of the warm-up.
Oh,
so
my goodness.
We'll see how
I'm
this
afraid
goes.
as well.
That's all right. We're just doing this for fun. It's for fun, right? We're just having a good time. All right, so we'll move on to the next one here. All right, your next one. This player became a professional in Slovakia at the age of 18. In January 2011, then 20 years old, he was invited for a trial by Ajax for the second time, Ajax over in the Dutch league. Following his transfer from his first club, which he played for twice, he scored a goal in his debut for a Champions League level club against, I'm not even going to try to say this name, FC Vicheland. I probably butchered it. Despite not having his work and residency permit, on May 2014, he went on loan with the option to buy to a club in North America. He made his debut coming on as a substitute against the Columbus Crew and got the game-tying assist. In his first start for the club on May in 2014 against Chivas USA, he scored his first and second goals for the club. He was signed permanently that June and became the club's fourth ever designated player. On April 8th, 2017, after scoring a penalty kick against the Philadelphia Union, he became the club's all-time leading goal scorer with 46 goals. He was traded to FC Cincinnati on July 30th for allocation money. He has played for 7 clubs, including FC Cincinnati. He was also called up to his country's national team squad to face Egypt in a 2017 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier in March of 2016, but did not play. All right, so those are all the clues for this particular player. So if you know who this player is and can guess the teams that they previously played for, Tom, I'll start with you this time. Do you know who the player is, yes or no?
No.
Okay. How about you, Carl? Do you know who the player is?
No, sir.
Okay, so I'll give you a hint.
Yeah.
He is
It's bad.
He's FC Cincinnati's only designated player.
Okay, I got that.
All right. Can you name any other clubs that he played for?
I cannot.
Okay. How about you, Tom?
No, I cannot.
So you,
Oh, Tom.
Yeah.
so you don't even know who FC Cincinnati traded him with, who they traded with.
No, I'm really bad at this stuff. I thought this was going to be like who scored the first goal at Nippert or who scored the first goal ever. And see, I'm completely unprepared.
Oh, so basically what you've just done is you've thrown Josef under the bus here.
No. Joseph did good. I'm terrible at players. I know names and faces and numbers, and I just cheer really loud when they do something good. So that's my job.
I was at a tailgate recently, at Mecklenburg Gardens, and the team he came from had shipped a bunch of his faces on sticks, and it was actually a super cool gesture. I wish I had it with me, but it's still in my car because I'm lazy and I never clean up my car. But if I had it, I would literally like wear the face right now. Wear my Fernando Adi face. There's a big logo of the team on the opposite side. That's probably the only reason I remember who it is.
All right, so are you calling it quits there, Tom and Carl? You don't know who this is?
Oh, who it is, but yeah, you're asking for other teams.
All right.
There's a difference.
All right. So, Trisha, I'll throw it to you. Can you name the player?
Yeah, it's Adi from Portland Timbers. That's where we got him.
So she knew the Portland Timbers. Well, congratulations, Trisha.
Thank you.
You just showed up, Carl and Tom.
Sorry, not really.
No stars needed, Trisha.
So Portland Timbers, obviously he came from FC Copenhagen, and then a lot of other teams that I'm not even going to try. Dynamo Kiev. They played on loan there in 2011. So good job, Trisha. Nice job pulling there the Portland Timbers.
Thank you.
We'll do one more, and we'll see how this goes.
It's a tiebreaker.
It's a tiebreaker, a 0-0 tiebreaker. It's like a perfect game, no-hitter going into the ninth inning.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you a hint. He did really well over the weekend. This player also played college soccer at Wake Forest University from 2007 to 2009, where he appeared in 68 games, scoring 15 goals and adding 38 assists. He was a member of Wake Forest's 2007 NCAA College Cup championship team. He was named ACC Offensive Player of the Year in 2009. He was drafted in the first round, 13th overall, of the 2010 MLS Super Draft, where he spent 4 years at his first club before moving to another MLS squad in 2013's re-entry draft. He was loaned to a USL Pro club late in 2014 and would make his move permanent the following year. He would go on to sign with FC Cincinnati ahead of their inaugural 2016 season. This player has played the most minutes in FC Cincinnati history. He made several appearances for the U.S. youth national teams, and he has played for 4 professional clubs, including FC Cincinnati. So, do either one of you know who the player is?
Yes.
No, he is. No help on where.
Okay, so they both know who the player is. Carl, can you name any additional teams besides FC Cincinnati?
Was it the Union?
Okay, so you're going to say 1? Your number is 1? You're bidding 1?
I'll go with 1.
All right, so he's bidding 1. Tom, can you beat 1?
I cannot beat 1.
All right, so Carl, give us the player, and obviously you're guessing the Philadelphia Union.
That's right. Philadelphia Union is a Corbin Bone.
You are correct. Carl is our winner. Congratulations, Carl. You knocked off Tom 1-0 in the Wikipedia game. Good stuff, gents. We've got one more here, and I'll let the 3 CST cast members duke this one out. Boston and Rob and Trisha, you up for this one?
Sure.
Yeah, why not?
All right. Boston, I can tell he's nervous about this. All right, here we go. This player was named Atlantic 10 midfielder and freshman of the year his first year at UNC Charlotte. He was a 4-time All-Atlantic 10 Conference first-team selection. He was twice named to the Herman Award watch list, and he helped the 49ers earn a Conference USA championship his senior year. Originally invited to the 2014 Major League Soccer Combine, he was projected as a second-round pick due to his vision and work ethic. He went undrafted and signed as a rookie to an NASL club for 2015 and ended the year starting 22 matches. This player signed with 2 expansion sides in the following seasons and joined FC Cincinnati following a 2017 season where he won the Soccer Bowl. He has played for 4 professional clubs, including FC Cincinnati. So, if you know the player, bid on how many teams that you can name that he has played for. I will start with you, Rob Pierce.
2.
Okay, so you're going with 2. Trisha, how about you?
I am going to go with 0 because I'm not sure.
Okay. How about you, Boston? Can you top 2?
No, I can name the player and 2 as well.
Okay. You don't even want to try with 3?
Go for it, Boston.
I don't know who his first club was. Not without a hint, I can't do 3. No.
All right, Rob, since you bid 2, can you name the player and the teams?
The player is Tyler Gibson.
Yeah.
And the 2 teams are the San Francisco Deltas and OKC Rayo.
Yeah, that's the 2 I knew. Hold on. Was the last one San Antonio before they were USL?
You would have had 3 and you would have won, Boston.
Shoot. I honestly, what was their name? I can't remember.
San Antonio Scorpions.
Ah, crap.
Yeah. So good job, Rob. And by the way, Carl and Tom, it wasn't the best, but you know what? We had fun, right? That's all that matters.
A win's a win.
Yeah, and Carl's a winner. And Tom, you're a winner in life. You're doing great things.
Hey, it's all right. I'll just come back on the Growler Cup. At least I'll win that.
Oh, see, I like that. I like the
True story.
Well, gents, again, thank you so much for your tremendous support of CST. We really do appreciate all the support you've given us, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck here through the Growler Cup, and we'll have to do this again sometime.
Thanks, all.
And I'll study up a little bit.
All right, you heard it here first. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Tom. We appreciate it. That's Carl and
Thanks,
Tom joining us here on the Kings Hammer Hotline. That was a lot of fun. We'll have to work on that. We have to do a better job of educating the FC Cincinnati faithful, right? So that's kind of on us. That's on us.
If we lose two donation subscriptions tonight, we know why.
Oh, that's fantastic. I thought for sure Joseph had filled them in that they were going to be playing the Wikipedia game. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Well, I apologize for putting Carl and Tom on the spot, but we had fun. That's all that matters. So thank you again for supporting the show. If you're interested in participating in the Growler Cup and coming on our show and playing the Wikipedia game, please do come on and support the show. CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. We need to give a big shout out to Claire, who is one of our monthly winners. She doesn't want to come on and play the Growler Cup, and that's totally understandable. Claire, we do understand you, so thank you for she was one of our monthly winners, though, in the Growler Cup. She's doing quite well.
After watching Tom Grable, I don't blame her, honestly.
Wow. Well, I don't even know where to go from there. But thank you again to our tremendous supporters. That was a lot of fun playing the Wikipedia game. We'll do that more and more here through the leading up towards the end of the regular season for FC Cincinnati. Anything else we've missed this week, gents? Anything that's really itching at your craw that you want to talk about, Rob? Anything?
I cannot think of anything. I think we've done a fairly decent job dissecting yesterday's match.
Yeah. There is one bit of news that came out today regarding FC Cincinnati. They will be breaking ground on Wednesday at the new practice facility out in Milford. Boston, that is near and dear to your home. I know you were a little bummed you couldn't make the event, but that's still big news that they're going to be breaking ground on their own place, their own practice facility.
Absolutely phenomenal. There are MLS fans out there. I mean, I can think of like the New England Revolution, Orlando being a relatively new club that still haven't made this step. And I think it's one of the cool new steps that Major League Soccer is making expansion teams do, is not only do you have to provide the $150 million, you have to, go ahead and get this stuff built, because this is the new era of Major League Soccer, and these new teams need to be leading the way. And I am pumped. We're going to have 2 fields, grass, a turf field for, whenever it's absolutely soaked and rainy and you don't want to trash the field, right? But I mean, how phenomenal is this? We have a headquarters next door, an academy next door. I mean, this should blow your mind. 4 years ago, if I told you there's going to be a Major League Soccer team, a full-on academy with practice facilities and a headquarters in Milford, you would laugh in my face.
And not only that, they've already sold the naming rights to the facility.
I've never been so happy, to be a soccer fan in Cincinnati.
It is exciting. So that is going to go down on Wednesday at 2:00 there in Milford. So good stuff there from FCC. Looking forward to that. As we begin to wrap things up here on episode 133, don't forget to rate and review the show on iTunes. A little rating and review goes a long way. So we hope that you have some kind words on it. Although if you give us a bad review after that Growler Cup or that Wikipedia game, I do understand. Of course, I'm kidding. Tom McCarl, that was fun. But as we begin to wrap things up, we want to congratulate Trisha Hauser on making her debut, becoming the first female analyst here on CST. Trisha, was it all you had hoped for, or more? Did we do a good job making you feel welcome?
No.
Yeah, I kind of.
No, I'm kidding. It was great. It was a good time.
Final thoughts as we wrap up.
I'm glad my kitten didn't jump on the table and break all my equipment. I was like waiting for him to do that. I kept staring like, Gus, please don't. He wants to now.
Well, we're glad, and we're glad to have you aboard. You've done a really good job covering the team with your articles on the site. So, and we're glad to have you part of the rotation now of co-hosts. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Final thoughts from Rob Pierce. Rob, I know you got to be excited. First of all, I don't like talking about the Premier League too much around here because I've had to hear these Liverpool and Spurs supporters just chiming away, but I will give you props. That was a big win for Liverpool over the weekend.
Yeah, it was. Excited about the start of Champions League play, hoping they can make up for Karius's mistakes there a few months ago. But my final thought, I just want to congratulate the club to have members of the Cincinnati Police Department on the pitch before the match yesterday, and the players wearing the orange shirt, the Cincy Strong shirt over their kits. With the recent shooting at Fountain Square and the anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks last week, it's a good time to acknowledge the men and women who put their lives on the line every day in the city and everywhere else. The officers nearby at Fountain Square reacted quickly, and from what I've heard, that shooting could have been much worse. So thank you to all our law enforcement officials and first responders for all that you do, and great for to the club for acknowledging that yesterday.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Rob. Well done. You are quite the man with words, not just talking, but with your pen as well. So thank you, as always, for your contributions to CST. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And last but not least, Mr. PTO, Mr. Razzle Dazzle Brazzle himself, Boston T-Swift lover Brazzle.
Speaking of travel, I'm going to head up to the Penn FC game this weekend. Probably the first and last time in my life I will ever have a reason to go to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And, even though they don't play there anymore, I'm going to go check out the island, the City Islanders, right? I'm expecting to see a big palm tree and a soccer ball sun. This is kind of my dream, right? So looking forward to another FC Cincinnati game. Hopefully we can just keep this streak going, right? There are a lot of USL records on the line, and if you're looking for a reason to stay interested because FCC's been so dominant on the way to the playoffs, watch these records. I mean, I think we have a win record. I think there are consecutive unbeaten streak record, and you guys may know the rest, but there are 4 or 5 records on the line here with this team. So this is going to be an awesome rest of the year. So let's close it out.
Good stuff, as always, Boston. Appreciate you being with us.
Just glad to be here.
My final thoughts as we get out of here. It's been a heck of a season for FC Cincinnati. I continue to be amazed at this streak, now at, 18 unbeaten. They haven't lost since before Memorial Day. At some point, the streak has to come to an end. And I guess I'm that Debbie Downer. I kind of want to get the streak out of the way before the end of the season. Would it be great to have the USL record for the winning streak? Sure, but like in the end, the ultimate goal is USL championship. And I think Alan Koch will be the first one to tell you that defensively, that wasn't good enough over the weekend. And that's going to get you beat in the playoffs. And good teams are going to punish you. So maybe it was a blip. Maybe they were due for a blip. But I don't know. I just want to – I'm trying to enjoy the moment, but at the same time, knowing Cincinnati sports history, I don't know, man. I don't know. All this talk about –
Don't put that bad juju on them.
But I don't have to. It's kind of built into our DNA.
Rob, you were at the press conference. Didn't he say something about that though? Like we don't need to lose to see something. How bad this is. But didn't he say something like that?
Yeah. More or less, the quote was, "We don't need to lose to learn something from a game." He said, "You can learn plenty of things when you win."
Yeah.
I know that he prefaced all that by saying that he was becoming old and grumpy, which kind of made me chuckle inside a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think that's right. You can learn from wins. You
can. Hopefully they learned over the weekend. Maybe as a wake up call. But it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. Let's hope that continues over the next few weeks. They've got Penn FC this upcoming weekend. Don't forget, we've got our live show coming up here on the 20, if my math is correct. Yep, the 25th. So next Monday, we will not be doing our normal CST. That is because we will be live at Buffalo Wings and Rings Tuesday night. 7 o'clock is the kickoff time for that show. So make sure you get down to Oakley, Buffalo Wings and Rings. The guys will be live there. I will not be there, unfortunately, but I will be manning the broadcast from here at the CST studios. So make sure you get down to Oakley's Buffalo Wings and Rings. It's going to be a good time had by all. That is coming up on the 25th of September, so that's next Tuesday. So again, no show Monday night next week. All right, that's going to do it for episode 133 of CST. My thanks to Rob Pierce, Boston Brazell, and Trisha Hauser. I'm Subs, reminding you to watch your tackles, and we will see you all next week.